Drugs and alcohol are a sensitive and serious topic. But what is included in drugs? And what about medicines? Does it matter what I do in my own time? Let's look at how we are all affected. What we're discussing here are drugs that are not food and not medically necessary, but mood-altering substances that people use to try to get an escape from the problems of life, to get a dreamy feeling or a sense of well-being or of elation. Sometimes we refer to substance abuse because different things, even common things, can be misused. Let's look at some different types of drugs. Legal and illegal drugs can be grouped as narcotics, depressants, stimulants, or hallucinogens. Narcotics are generally for pain relief and can produce a feeling of contentment, but they are also addictive and an overdose can kill you. They can be either a stimulant or a depressant. Now, depressants slow down the body, producing a relaxing effect, but they can also affect concentration and coordination and are addictive. And those who take them build up a tolerance, which means that the user will need more of the drug to achieve the same results, which increases the risk of overdose. Probably the most common example of a depressant is alcohol. Stimulants, on the other hand, increase heart rate, blood pressure, and produce energy within the body. They can make a person feel more awake, alert, confident, or energetic. Caffeine is probably the most common example, but of course there are stronger and illegal stimulants. Hallucinogens can make a person see, hear, smell, feel, or taste things that aren't really there or different from how they are in reality. And they can cause irreversible personality changes. So we can see that there is a need to be careful of the effect of drugs and alcohol in the workplace. What are the risks? Abusing alcohol and other drugs may damage your physical and mental health. Many drugs, even in low doses, can affect our ability to work safely. Being under their influence in the workplace can lead to serious injuries to yourself and others. For example, if you are drowsy or your coordination is affected, it would be dangerous for you to drive a vehicle or operate machinery. Or if someone else at your workplace is under the influence of alcohol or other drugs, it can put you and your workmates at risk. If you are affected by alcohol or other drugs and are injured at work, you may not be able to get workers' compensation. If you possess, consume, distribute, or sell illegal drugs in the workplace, you can be prosecuted. Some symptoms of drugs and alcohol use include blurred vision, slurred speech, dizziness, drowsiness, falling asleep at work, extreme emotional highs and lows, hangovers, lack of coordination or poor reflexes, sudden violent or aggressive behaviour, lack of inhibitions, judgment or self-control. Some indicators that can suggest the alcohol and drug misuse in others include near-miss incidents, violence, habitual lateness, frequent absences, neglect of personal grooming, interpersonal problems, a worker experiencing poor coordination, poor concentration, visual problems. Now, of course, these things could also have other explanations. Being vulnerable means a person at risk of harm, in this case from misusing drugs or alcohol, a person in need of special care or support. This includes those of us with chronic stress, migrants, particularly refugees, those with mental illness, older people, Indigenous, and those who already have a problem with alcohol are then likely more at risk from drug abuse. Be careful if you or your friends or your workmates are vulnerable or at risk. What should you do for yourself personally? Ensure that you're not under the influence of alcohol or illegal drugs at work. If you are taking a medicine, check with your doctor or chemist about what possible effects, for example drowsiness, the medicine may have on you. If appropriate, discuss these effects with your manager. You may need to be put on restricted duties while you are taking the medicine. If your problem is more serious, you can get assistance from your employer. You can also contact other organisations like Lifeline on 13/11/14. And look out for your workmates. If you suspect someone is under the influence of alcohol or other drugs at work, tell your manager or health and safety representative. Don't approach the person directly unless it's to stop an immediate risk. Remember that signs of possible drug and alcohol abuse may be due to other reasons, such as a health problem, and actual abuse may be the result of matters like bullying or relationship problems. So don't jump to conclusions. If you're not comfortable with that, then you can call Work Cover on 131050 and even anonymously. If you do report suspected alcohol and other drug abuse, don't feel that you've dobbed in a mate. You're looking out for them and everyone else at work. Covering it over would put everyone at risk. What does GLAD expect? What's the policy? All workers need to present for duty in a fit state. Employees must not consume alcohol or drugs while at work. No employee is to commence work or return to work while affected by alcohol or other drugs. Remember that alcohol and other drugs used outside of the workplace may remain in your system after returning to work and can affect your work performance. A breach of this policy is grounds for disciplinary action, which could sadly lead to termination of employment. Some sites have also introduced random drug testing, but you will be informed if this comes to your workplace. What do you need to do? Drug and alcohol is another workplace health and safety issue. Know what's involved in these issues and the dangers involved. Ask for help for your own problem. And if you notice others may be affected or vulnerable, then try to get them assistance too. Thanks again for joining us. Remember the short test below, and as usual, we'd love to hear your comments. So send us an email to remember@learningsphere.com.au with your thoughts.